The crypto market is in a complete free fall right now, but it has opened up some amazing cryptocurrencies at dirt cheap prices. So what I'll be doing in this video is taking you through which cryptocurrencies I am buying and how much of, but most importantly, you should be taking notes because I believe these altcoins will fall a bit further from where they are right now. And of course, the lower the better. What indicates a good time to buy for me is when Bitcoin or the global market is down at 10% or more on the weekly, not the 24-hour, not the 1 hour. It's crypto. These things are very volatile on the 7-day. And as we can see here, Bitcoin is down just over 10%, which is a good indicator for me to buy. Obviously, altcoins, as you can see beneath it, are quite low. Now, I've got 6 altcoins that I'm going to touch on here. I've got a whole bunch more I'm going to list at the end of the video that are also good to look out for, but just aren't the ones I'm dollar cost averaging into just yet, okay? So my list of my favorite projects is definitely a lot more than this, but as I said, I've vetted these projects based on kind of what their price is right now relative to what they were a few months ago back at the inception of 2023, okay? Which is pretty much when Bitcoin was around $16,500, which was pretty much the lowest price it had been for a few years now, okay? So the fact that these prices are pretty well close to what they were back then is a good time to buy, at least in my opinion, okay? So let's touch on Polkadot first. We'll go from top to bottom. And again, use the timestamps down below, guys, if you do want to skip ahead to any particular project. But of course, the whole point of this video is to look at them in general. Polkadot's price right now is about $5.90. And year to date, again, let's just reiterate here, guys, this was back at Bitcoin's lowest price of about $16,500. It was trading at $4.30. So when you're talking comparatively, it's not too bad, I must admit. It's definitely not the lowest on today's list, or at least closest to what it was 3 or 4 months ago. But I definitely think it's a good time to buy Polkadot under $6. So what I've gone and done is I bought about 50 DOT tokens, which is just about $300. Yes, it's not the most, but I feel like you don't want to be spending too much money unless obviously the project's price is at like dirt cheap levels. Now, I think from these prices, Polkadot should 30 to 50x in the next bull market, so that is still quite a good return on investment. Next up, we have Hedera, one of the favorites on this channel, and I think most people love Hedera Hashgraph, right? So currently trading at just about 6 cents, and if we go back year to date, we're just under a 2x up from, back then, which is quite good. Now, the price back here was kind of comparative to what it was in 2020. So when you're talking about a good time to buy, that definitely would have been a good time. So I'm not going all in on Hedera just yet, right? I'm only buying about 5,000 tokens, which again is about $300 or so. So yeah, it's definitely not my largest position in this video, but I definitely think if the price does go lower, again, I will be going all in, probably 100,000 tokens this time. So of course you don't want to buy it like the wrong times. And I think from at least this price, Hedera will 30 to 50x in 2025. So again, that's still really good return on investment. Number 3, we have Algorand. These guys are 16.64% down on the 7-day, and there's a reason for that. I'll touch on that in a minute, right? So the current price is about 20 cents, just under actually. And year to date, believe it or not, we pretty much are at the same price. Back then it was 17 cents. And as you can see, we're dropping quickly. Now, why are we dropping? Well, it's because the SEC pretty much name dropped them in a lawsuit against a centralized exchange. So that has helped tank the price. And for me, that means nothing, right? So I'm definitely accumulating as much as I possibly can. And that means I'm actually buying about 8,000 Algo tokens. Now, you'll notice I like to buy in nice round numbers. I don't care about the price. I'm not over here saying, okay, I'm going to spend, $1,500. Oh gosh, because that'll throw out the value of Algo. And ultimately, I like to have nice, neat numbers when I'm looking at my wallet so I can easily trace how much money I actually have or how much tokens I have. So that's a little tip I think a lot of people don't really utilize. Now, from today's price, I definitely see Algorand going anywhere between 50 to 30x. So again, that's not the highest ROI on the list, but definitely substantial. Now, here's another channel favorite, right? Quant. So Quant's down about 9% or so on the 7-day, but it's mainly the price of the token I'm looking at, right? So Quant's price, if you get, Quant under $100, it's definitely a steal. And I think around the $100 mark is definitely a good price as well. So year to date, we're pretty close, $106. So that's quite bullish. And you can see here again, we're steeping down quite quickly, right? I'm not a technical trader. I don't do technical analysis, but I definitely think it looks good. However, if we zoom out a bit further, it definitely was cheaper back in 2022, right? About midway through last year. So yeah, when you're talking about like dirt cheap prices, we're not quite there yet, but I definitely think Quant does have a fair bit to grow. But because we are so close to that $100 mark, I actually went ahead and bought 10 Quant tokens. Again, I like those nice round numbers. That's about $1,100 or so. Now, where do I see Quant going, at least at this price, in the next year? Well, I think about 12 to a 40x sounds about reasonable to me. Now, here's one you don't see very often, Kusama, right? I don't talk about Kusama very much. I talk about its sister net Polkadot, but you just can't argue with really good prices. So right now, the circulating supply of Kusama is about 8.4 million tokens, and they expel their tokens between like 5 to 10% every single year. So there's not much coming out, and so we can confidently say, there's going to be lots of demand, or at least supply shock, for Kusama in 2025. And so at the price of $29.90, that's extremely good. So if we go back to, start of the year, it definitely was lower by about $7, which, isn't that much, but market cap wise, it probably is. But hit all, and check this out. The all-time high last year went up to about $600. Just incredible. And the market cap wasn't even, all that much when you're talking about, total market cap size in terms of a bull market, about $5 billion. So I definitely think we'll see a price of about $1,500 Kusama in 2025. It could go more, it could go a bit less, but I'm at least buying some Kusama now. I don't have a large KSM position by all means, but I'm buying about 10, okay? So this will put my total Kusama tokens up to about 50. And again, $300 for me isn't too bad. It's not going to break the bank. And so, of course, I want to be at least, exposed a little bit to this great project. Next up, we have Reserve. Now, Reserve is down the highest on the 7-day out of all the projects on today's list, and they're currently trading at about 0.3, 0.4 cents, all right? So if we go back to have a look at that point in time when Bitcoin hit about 16,500, it was about 0.3 cents, all right? So it's about 0.1 cents difference. And if we zoom out even more to the all, I mean, look, it's dropped quite a lot since the top of the market. And if we even go back to 2019, 2020 prices, we're pretty much almost on par with what it was back then. So again, great value for money in my opinion. And where do I think Reserve is going to go, at least from these prices in 2025? Well, I'm going to estimate anywhere between a 20 to 40x. So yeah, obviously that's great, right? But I haven't really bought too much of Reserve, I must admit. I've bought pretty much around 50,000 tokens, which is about just under $200. And look, if you want to know why, to be completely honest with you, it's just not my favorite project on this list. Typically, I'll buy because I love the project, and I'll buy more based on how low it is. But Reserve is quite low. It doesn't really get my gears going as much as some of these other projects, right? So the last one, this is a bit of a bonus. I'm talking about Energy Web token, right? So I don't talk about Energy Web at all. So I was like, do I add it? Do I not? But I'm buying it. So I thought, why the hell not, right? So the current price is about $2.61. Now, if we go year to date, we're actually lower. So it was $2.95, but when we're talking about the entire market itself, it actually was about $1 when it first came out. So we are a fair bit off that, but nevertheless, again, it was still a good time to buy from the last market, large crash, if you will, right? So how much have I bought of this? Well, not much. I bought about 100 tokens, right? So it's about $300, more than Reserve, because I definitely think, look, this is a low market cap project. It's actually considered a micro cap. So for me, that will go further, and therefore I'm going to estimate probably a 20 to 40x minimum. Depending on how well it all goes, it could definitely even blow Reserve out of the water. So yeah, I definitely wanted to kind of take a bit of a hedge in that sense. So that's kind of the projects on this list. Now, I did want to mention, as I said at the start of the video, that I do have some that I wanted to keep my eye on. Now, these projects didn't make the list, didn't make the cut. And while they might be down, like you see XRP and Stellar, these guys pretty much mirror each other. They're down quite a lot, but in saying that, when you like zoom out to the year to date, they are up quite high. So I definitely don't want to invest when we're just like coming down from that up phase. Okay, I want to definitely catch it when it's on the lower side of things. So comparatively, they weren't kind of hitting the nail on the head. And in that same category, we have Chainlink, Near Protocol, Multiverse X, Mina, IOTA. Now, I'll admit, I like to always say this on the channel. If I don't know much about a project, I'll say it. IOTA is the only project, actually as well as Thorchain, that I don't know all that much about, but I have looked into them enough to be quite confident in talking about them. When I say I've researched them, it's probably most than most other people, I must admit, right? But it's not in my usual fashion. So I can't tell you guys to look into these further because I don't really know, to be 100% honest, but I'm keeping my eyes on them. Now, Moonbeam also is on this list as well. So again, these projects, or these lists rather, the keep an eye on list and the DCA list, I'm going to have them in the description below so you can have a look at them yourself. If you did have any questions, guys, leave them below. I spent a total of just under $4,000 in total on this dollar cost average. And simply because, for me, right, $4,000 is quite a lot of money. What I typically do is allocate myself a certain amount of money every single week to dollar cost average. It's normally about $300 or so, but I have a pot of cash I leave off to the side that I invest in when we have a situation like this, when the market is down substantially and when I can get in projects and spend that little bit more money, okay? So that's why I always talk about having some cash holdings on the side for this situation is a good thing, and you definitely want to keep some aside if there is a black swan event. So if the markets tank even further next week and the week after, you damn bet I'll make another video coming out with some more projects that do pop up and what I'm actually buying. So I don't really want to make this a series because it's going to be quite boring if I talk about the projects I'm dollar cost averaging into a week. But if you want to see that, let me know. I'm happy to make those videos too. All right, guys, thanks so much. Take care. Talk to you soon.